Again.
I blinked. We all blinked.
It's not just any photo.
The camera used to be over there. Why is it over
10 months
here?
ago, I
No, but
couldn't
it used to be like right in
lift a
front of
feather,
us.
but-
It's a tradition among 5 lifelong friends.
We're glad we started a tradition like this, and we hope it does inspire others who are young and can start something like it to do the same thing.
Bend resident John Wardlaw remembers the trip to Copco Lake like it was yesterday. That was 40 years ago, just after graduating Santa Barbara High School.
I decided I wanted to take a trip with all my friends, and I asked my mother and grandmother if I could use the house. And they said yes, and they were reluctant because I was 19 and there's a bunch of guys in a house, but we got all of us to come here, and John Dixon grabbed his camera and said, let's take some photos. And we randomly happened to take the photo of us sitting on the deck railing looking all sullen and dark and moody, which we probably thought was cool.
That trip ended, and 5 years later, John, Mark, Dallas, John, and John found themselves here again. This time, with their new tradition in place.
I said, let's duplicate that photo. And everyone agreed, and so we did it again, and it just kind of continued that way. We found ourselves here again in 1992 and duplicated it. And probably about that time, we took it seriously, and we said we should start doing this every 5 years and make a tradition out of it.
That's what they did. Year after year, after year, after year.
How have the photos changed over the years, or do you try to keep them as close to the original as possible?
We all know our positions, we know the props. I think we've got it down to a system, and I would say actually this year went pretty easily. We try to get the time of day right so the lighting's similar, and it really is a lot about our positioning, sitting in the same positions and having the same expressions. I mean, we could have all started smiling at photo number 2, but we're like, no, we're duplicating the original. So even though it's silly, we have those dark and moody, sullen expressions on our faces with no smiles. But we're just looking for duplicating the original because that's how it all started.
Aside from age and digital photography, Wardlaw says not much has changed.
They're old. Look at them. How did they get old?
Because it's about a lot more than a photo or a trip. It's a way for these friends to stay connected.
How does this tradition keep the friendship alive?
Well, one, we look forward to it. And even though we all have different lives, doing different things, and we've all probably changed dramatically, when we walk back into this house, the old jokes, the old camaraderie, it just all comes up to the surface like we haven't seen, like we just saw each other yesterday.
Yeah.
And we enjoy playing some of the same old music for nostalgia. It's just, I think seeing us keeps that camaraderie together, knowing that we're going to take it and then we get to do it every 5 years.
This group, these photos, giving a new meaning to Friends Until the End.
How long do you all intend on continuing this tradition?
We intend on continuing this tradition until there is only one of us left, and it has even been suggested that when none of us are left, that John Dixon's son, Jimmy, will take a photo of an empty railing.
Wow. I mean, sad to think about, but also what a way to document your friendship over the years.
Right, and we haven't decided what we'll do when one of us passes away, if we'll leave a blank space, or we each have mugs with our nicknames on them. They were my groomsmen presents to all the guys when I got married. And we thought we might just sit their mug in their spot and just leave an empty spot with their mug. But we really haven't decided. We really don't want to get to that place.
40 years and 9 photos later.
If you've got great friends, junior high, high school, college, any time in your life, don't let them slip away. If they're truly important, try to stay in touch. Make that effort to visit somebody, invite people to visit you, come up with a tradition, but I just think it's something that some people lose touch with.
Multiple moments captured in time that none of these friends take for granted.
A job well done, or at least a job done.
Wait a minute. I think it was only 4 years.